Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode. I mean, खुश आमदीद इस एपिसोड में बेगम बेगम्स के आज हम बात कर रहे हैं एक ऐसी बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग लड़की लड़की कहूंगी बिकॉज वो सबसे शी इज़ वन ऑफ द यंगेस्ट पीपल दैट आई एम टॉकिंग टू बट उनकी बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है और मैं समझती हूँ कि वो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग काम भी कर रही हैं जिसकी वजह से मैं उनसे बात करना चाह रही हूँ। इनका नाम है सनम माहिर और वो एक जर्नलिस्ट भी हैं और उन्होंने बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बुक भी लिखी थी जो कि शायद आप लोगों ने सुना हो। इट्स कॉल्ड अ वुमन लाइक हर। इट्स अबाउट कंदील बलोच, जिनको आई थिंक सभी जानते हैं। कंदील बलोच जो कि मेरा ख्याल है सोशल मीडिया स्टार उनको कहेंगे। शी वाज मॉडलिंग भी करती थी और सब और उनकी ट्रेजिकली उनको उनके भाई ने मर्डर कर दिया था। तो सनम ने इस स्टोरी को एक किताब में सारी इसकी जर्नी इसको इन्वेस्टिगेट किया और समझा कि इस पे सारी जो भी लोगों को अफेक्ट हुआ, किस तरह ये एक सोसाइटी एक ऐसी लड़की को डील करती है। एंड आई थिंक कि ऐसी लड़की जो कि अपने हालात से रिबेल करती है और एक अपने लिए कोई बिल्कुल नया रास्ता चूज करती है जो कि उसके आसपास किसी ने नहीं देखा हो। आई थिंक हम सारे छोटे छोटे तरीकों से अपने कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं कि हम कोई अपने अपने नए अपने रास्ते देखें, कोई अपना फ्रीडम एक्सप्लोर करें कि क्या क्या हम कर सकते हैं, अपना टैलेंट जो भी हम समझते हैं। सैडली शी वाज पनिश्ड फॉर द सेम थिंग दैट वी ऑल ट्राई टू डू। ये सिर्फ एक लड़की की बात नहीं है। आई थिंक ये हमारी सोसाइटी में बहुत लड़कियों के साथ डिफरेंट तरीकों से रिएक्शंस आते हैं जब वो कई दफ़ा कोई रिश्ता अपना रिजेक्ट कर दे तो उस पे कोई एसिड फेंक देता है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे कल्चर में काफ़ी चीज़ें हैं जिसको हमें कन्फ्रंट करना चाहिए और हमें औरतों के लिए बेहतर राइट्स इसी तरह हमें समझ आएगी कि औरतों की जगह क्या है इस समाज में, इस सोसाइटी में। सनम ने इस पे काम किया है और सनम ने और भी ऐसे सब्जेक्ट्स पे कल्चर के अराउंड काम किया है, नॉट जस्ट वेमेन, इवन फूड, मेमोरी। बीबीसी पे, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में इनके आर्टिकल्स छप चुके हैं। सो आई वुड रियली लाइक टू हियर her point of view. Please join me as we talk to Sanam Maher.
Thank you for joining me, Sanam, today. I am so excited that we're doing this because I have been following you for so long, and there are very few women occupying the space that you have built for yourself. And I'm really interested to talk to you about your journey too.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I've followed you on Instagram for quite some time now, so it's nice to actually have this chance to have a chat and that it can be kind of a chill chat because it's in the podcast format, so that's nice. It's not just DMs.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to, I know, we forget. I think हम लोग इतना online
Totally.
चीजें कर, because we start virtually, we have these whole other lives
Yeah.
online, and then we have so many. It's been actually, this is what the internet was supposed to do. It was supposed
I
to help
know.
connect people positively. लेकिन खैर, we have both sides. कोई बात नहीं. We are taking the good with the bad, and we are focusing on the
Totally.
good.
Totally.
So anyway, I've been really curious about your journey and how you have. You're actually one of the youngest people I'm talking to.
Yeah, I am newly 40. I just turned 40 like end of last month. So this is very new for me.
So let's say, how does it feel? Does it feel different though? I mean, you just turned 40. Does it really feel any different?
I think something जो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा था when I like friends knew I was turning 40, uh like जो मेरी दोस्तें हैं that are already in their 40s, something that all of them said is it felt like everything up until this point had been research into yourself, and you sort of reach this decade और आपको इतना अंदाजा हो जाता है कि like what do you like, what do you not like, who do you like being around, where do you want to put your energy, how you feel about work changes, how you feel about friendships. And I really like this idea of everything up until this point has been research. You've been experiencing a lot of things, and now you're sort of at a decade where you understand yourself a lot more. And I'm so excited about that. That's something that I've really taken into this decade, which I think traditionally women especially tend to have a lot of fear around. It feels like a scary age. It feels like a big number. अगर आपका टेम्पलेट थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट है जो बाकी लोगों का चल रहा है उनकी लाइफ्स में जो हो रहा है तो there can be a lot of nervousness. So I'm very excited. It has felt very nice so far. I also celebrated in a very nice way with my friends. It felt like a milestone birthday.
Yeah.
तो अभी तक तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. Let's fingers
हाँ
crossed.
हाँ नहीं, that's what I was saying, that feels like now looking back मुझे लगता है 20s काफी uh, they're sort of like a post teenage sort of, again, growing pains kind of period.
Totally.
जहाँ पे we
Yeah.
thought we were adults, but I don't
Oh
think
my God. Oh my God. Your 20s are, कि like आप लोगों को देख रहे हो जो 40s में हैं and आप सोच रहे हो, oh my God, they're so old, uncle
And
auntie
auntie
types, you
You
know?
know?
हाँ
And
कि
now
नाम
you're
नहीं
there.
हाँ
Yeah, and now you're there and you're like, wow, I knew nothing. I knew nothing. You have so much bravado and you're so like you think, yeah, हाँ मुझे तो सब पता है. Like I'm in my 20s. You know nothing. So
yeah
Yeah.
man. Well, so yeah, I was just thinking back, okay, I mean, because you have been studying, what I have been seeing from you is, okay, you are very interested in our culture, you've been studying it in a bigger way, not just, I mean, it's ranging from women's issues to food and memory, and it's so important. I feel like uh, we really need to build and appreciate all the things that make and really understand our culture. We need to build more on our understanding of culture. So what got you interested in on this side of things? Like, why did you choose this aspect to study?
I think when you say that I am interested in culture, that's absolutely correct. I would just add कि मेरी जो interest है, it is the clash that we see showing up in our culture when it's two different opinions, or when we see a younger generation wanting to do certain things, or they have certain aspirations, or they're looking at whatever is going on in the world around us, which is so easy now. I mean, I don't even need to elaborate on that, but it's something that we've been seeing for the past couple of years, where there is a clash between ideologies, between an idea of what a good Pakistani woman looks like, a good Pakistani Muslim woman. There's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of traditional norms, societal norms, cultural norms. And my interest really comes in at that point where it's two competing views against each other. And it's sort of seeing, okay, why is one side perhaps feeling a lot of anxiety about a change? Why is one side pushing for a certain kind of change? What is it saying about where we're at? And just, I'm interested in how our ideas are formed within this culture. So, how did that start? That's a really tricky question, but I can give you an example of a story I worked on, which I think tells you a lot about where this interest perhaps started initially showing up. I am a journalist. I've been in newsrooms since I, I want to say 2007, 2008. And 2007 May, I was an intern in a newsroom, and that is, of course, when Benazir was killed.
Yes.
That was the big story in December 2007.
Yeah.
And I did a piece on how increasingly I was seeing young girls online who were crushing on Bilawal Bhutto. He was very young at that time. And it was, if you remember,
Yeah.
it was the first time that he sort of came into the public space and the public
That's
eye.
true. I remember
He was very young, and I think उससे पहले it was like, you know, अपनी अम्मी के साथ photographs, yeah, he was much younger, yeah, whatever. फिर we saw him at the funeral, and it really struck me that this is such a serious, somber moment. It's such a scary moment. So much was changing and so much was happening. But I was also seeing this conversation at the same time about girls being like, hey, he's kind of cute. Like, oh my God, this is Benazir's son. And it sounds nuts now, but what I loved is that even in this seriousness and where people, you know, they're so shocked by what's happened, there is also levity in the situation. There is a humor there. This is how we function here. It tells you so much about, you know, what two different groups perhaps might be focusing on or their attention might be on. And I ended up writing about that. Like I wrote a very sort of short piece about, you know, by the way, this is also happening.
And there was I feel like there was a parallel to Princess Diana William thing, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. And it was fascinating to see how it played out over here. But it was also one of those very few times where we saw this younger generation look at someone and be like, cute, I'm interested. Okay. And we hadn't had those kinds of public expressions, you know? Like, or space to even air that. The internet gave us that. Public forums gave us.
Media was still sort of big, just growing. I think.
Oh my God, it was a baby at that time. It was the very beautiful, innocent time of Orchid, and you know, like we were just having fun online. So,
We didn't really, there's this whole kind of a internet's boyfriend, and this whole kind of phenomena. जब हम देख रहे हैं, अब तो
totally,
we didn't really have those kind of and that kind of community around, you know, fandom and things. वो नहीं था उस वक्त. No, I was just trying to think कि like tab se I think my interest has been in, you know, even though these big sort of seismic changes happen in Pakistan, I've always really been interested in, okay, what's perhaps a quieter story that we're not seeing as much of, or what am I interested in as a person living here, as a woman living here? What do I want to read more about? And increasingly that has become कि like, you know, serious चीजें ठीक है चल रही हैं, मगर उसके against जो pushback होता है या other conversations होती हैं. What are those conversations? Yeah, I know what you mean, because maybe, I mean, when I was working as a photographer, I was always curious in, you know, what we were missing in the mainstream as well. I had actually done a project, a series of portraits of soldiers who had been injured in the war on terror, Pakistani soldiers. And I also, because at that point, this was when the war on terror was very strong, and we were seeing a lot of imagery of American and European, British soldiers in the war situation, but we didn't really see much of. We would read about the Pakistani soldiers dying, getting injured, but I hardly saw any. There was no visibility उस तरह. So I was curious कि ये आखिर हैं, ये हैं, this is happening, but we don't know these people. You know, we need to humanize. But so I totally that's why I love whatever you've been doing so far, and I've been reading your pieces as well. I do want to plug this. I want to plug this. This is Sanam's book, and this is, you know, that's your first book, right? Yes. The Sensational Life and Death of Qandeel Baloch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I've been, you know, because I was growing up in the television industry, and there were always women like Qandeel Baloch around in the industry. And I
Mm,
thought it was, I worked with them as well later on. And I mean, you always knew, okay, and there was always like, okay, she's from this sort of, background or that kind of background. And you could see that this woman has jumped, to,
mm,
stadiums length की जितनी
mm,
इतनी बड़ी बड़ी
mm,
छलांग लगा के वो इस इंडस्ट्री में आई हैं. Some have with the family support because they wanted the
mm,
financial, benefit of this woman working in the media,
mm,
or or against, resisting against their family's wishes and then coming into it. You still
mm.
see that there's still women. There's a lot of stories there. Kandil is definitely one of, hundreds maybe. There are many women
Mhm,
who are in this,
mhm.
and so just curious, why, what struck you about?
So I think now with the way that TikTok and the way that social media is, we do tend to see a lot more women occupying the same kind of space or doing the stuff that she had planted the seeds of. But what she was doing at that point, this is, I suppose, like 2013, 2014 onwards. It was also new for us. We weren't used to seeing women in this very public space of the online domain. Like she was mostly on Facebook, YouTube, कभी कभी Twitter पे, मगर ज़्यादातर Facebook पे था. The kind of videos that she was sharing there, अभी हम देखते हैं तो I think they look very very tame to us because हम इतने used to हो गए हैं to see women behaving, not just women, but like young people living
Yeah.
their lives a certain way online. We have access to a lot more of it. उस time पे
Mm.
इतना नहीं था, and
This whole
मतलब women
influencer thing and stuff, right? Also,
totally,
ethos.
yeah.
Yeah.
उस टाइम पे बहुत नया था हमारे लिए, and if you think back to when she was sharing her videos, they were very simple. They were, she's wearing a dress और वो पूछ रही है कि how I'm looking, या am I looking sexy in this, या मुझे इमरान खान पे क्रश है, वो मेरा क्रश है, या मैं गाना गाऊंगी, आप मुझे बताएं आपको कैसा लगा, like everyday stuff.
Sounds very tame now.
Extremely tame now. I mean,
बहुत
we feel
groundbreaking. मतलब there
worlds
was, it was,
away from
yeah.
that. Yeah. तो उस टाइम पे आई वॉज अवेयर ऑफ हर गोइंग वायरल, कि उसकी वीडियोस बहुत फैलती थी. अगेन आई वॉज वर्किंग इन अ न्यूज़ रूम एट द टाइम और कंदील की बातें होती रहती थी. पीपल वुड सी द वीडियो, शेयर इट, उसको इमिटेट करते थे. तो शी वॉज काइंड ऑफ ऑन माई रेडार, बट आई डिडंट रियली पे अटेंशन टू वट एवर वॉज गोइंग ऑन. फिर उसके बाद अगर आपको याद है, शी अक्यूज मुफ्ती कवि ऑफ बिहेविंग इनअप्रोप्रिएटली विथ हर. That put her in a very different space. And this is before what we call, like, ये जो Me Too movement है, ये उससे पहले था, but it was a Me Too moment. She kind of caught my eye then because I think to make that kind of accusation at that time, when you are a young woman, it felt like this incredibly brave thing to do and a dangerous thing to do.
Company with no family backing or any
Absolutely.
political, yeah, she was all alone.
Yeah. But फिर भी I did not focus on her as a story. When I heard that she'd been killed, my first response was complete disbelief. I couldn't believe that it had happened. And then the immediate response after that was sadness. There was a lot of grief. And I wasn't the only one feeling this. I mean, when you went on Facebook or Twitter, there were so many young people. I'm not even going to say just young women, like young men, who expressed this grief and shock about what had happened. I was really interested in that emotion. She was someone who we had become so used to seeing, and then suddenly this act of violence, which is quite ordinary in our country, that took place. But it affected us in a way that we hadn't anticipated. It was almost like आपका कोई जानने वाला है, आपका neighbor है, या कोई स्कूल का दोस्त है, वो इस तरह की familiarity थी उसके साथ.
It was kind of an innocence lost, in a way.
In a way, I think it brought home to us the violence of that moment, But then what surprised me even more and really made me sort of sit up and want to dig into her story further is everything we had learned about her was not what the situation was. Her real name was not Qandeel. She had been married, she had a child, she had run away from home. I think we were so captivated by what she was doing and so busy making fun of her or just watching her videos कि none of us paused and said ये है कौन ये कहाँ से आई है या इसकी बैक स्टोरी क्या है you know where is she even from. We didn't even pause to ask that. And I was really amazed by the idea of a woman who in this day and age could keep a secret about herself when her life is so public, and she knew exactly what to do to get our attention. She was so good at that that she created an entire persona that we bought into. We didn't even pause long enough to say, "Is persona ke piche kaun hai?" That amazed me, but it also really struck me that we were the culture and society that created a woman like Kandil, that made her as famous as she was, but we were also the culture and society that turned around and said, we can't tolerate someone like this. We have no space for her in this society, in this culture. So when she was killed as well, बहुत लोग कह रहे थे कि बिल्कुल अच्छा हुआ, बिल्कुल सही हुआ. People still say it to me to this day. They feel extremely comfortable saying this. उस टाइम पे भी बहुत हो रहा था. I'm sure you came across a lot of the hateful stuff that was being said कि और क्या expect कर रही थी, यही तो होना था. So it was those two running things. I was amazed by, how does a woman like her figure out how to get our attention and hold it to such a high degree that she has an entire life that we don't even look behind the curtain to see ye hai kaun. How did she do that? She knew us as an audience so well that she can keep giving us what we want to see, what we want to hate, what we want to make fun of, what we want to share or imitate.
She really
But
tapped into it. She really, yeah,
absolutely. But
yeah,
at the same time, we are also the
currency.
people who said, well, we can't tolerate someone like you. We have no space for you. So that's why I knew that this was not something that was going to be just, one long piece. Um I wanted to do a whole book, not just the book isn't just about Kandil, it's about the place that made her and what it says about us at that point in time, and what does it mean to be viral? What does it mean to be famous? Also I looked at like the chai wala, like a lot of people that
The resistance in the culture to
yeah, exactly. A lot of people
someone like her.
that. Yeah,
And I mean,
yeah.
unfortunately, she's not the last person to have.
No,
I mean,
no.
recently there have been well, I think one
Yes,
girl who
this
was
year,
shot.
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
and she's a TikTok star, I believe. And
yeah,
another one who was attempted, which hua tha. But I mean, there have been different kinds of attacks on women who are in that
yeah.
space. For sure, it's and definitely worth understanding. Well, I did want to talk to you about your personal journey and how you've how you think you've changed in the last few years. What is one thing that you were maybe you were afraid of when you were younger and that you don't think it was that important anymore now that you're older?
Oh my God, so many things. But honestly, I 40 was my scary age. Like I used to say that to so many friends, to siblings. Like I think the idea in my head, and I don't know where I got this idea from, I just imbibed it. कि 40 पे you need to have your life together. Like आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपका career कैसा जा रहा है. You need to have like you need to know what a mutual fund is. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपकी savings कहाँ पे हैं. आपकी गाड़ी होनी चाहिए. आपका घर ऐसा होना चाहिए. I don't know where I got these ideas from because my parents were certainly not saying it to me. My friends were not saying it to me. I think ये बस कहीं से absorb हो गया. And I was so, I don't know what I was scared of, but I always used to say that's a scary age to me. And I genuinely do not think that anymore. I actually really appreciate how my thinking about everything from, money to my career to friendships to partnerships to like just the fact that my life hasn't followed a template that is familiar to a lot of people here. Um, Getting over the fear of what that might mean or reflect on me. Not having children at this age as a choice, not being married at this age again as a choice. I am divorced. Choosing to live alone, which is something that has happened very, very recently. As of September this year, I moved into my own place. Um, there's so much that I feel like I've reframed, and it's been a lot of hard work, like changing my thinking about that, changing my thinking about how I feel about my body, how I feel about how I look, how I'm hard on myself, and I recognize that a lot more. It's not that I'm better at it or I've completely stopped doing it, but I think the awareness is so important. I mean, there's so many things that I changed my mind about, and I think a lot of that came from not seeing this age as a scary thing, but seeing it as this immense privilege to reach this point in your life, be
Yeah.
at a certain point, to be thinking a certain way, to have your own home where you are safe, where it is your own space. I mean, just so many things. To see it in a more positive reframing. I think that it means so much to me that I've been able to do that. So that's one big change.
That's a lot of change for your 40th year.
Yeah, I know.
है ना? हाँ, I mean it's
Yeah,
literally actual change, not just okay, but you feel evolved, but you actually
yeah,
physically everything changed. Your
absolutely.
so much in your reality changed this year.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
completely.
I think वही बात है कि this is something I have discussed with other women as well. This idea of ownership, you know, to own your choices,
Yeah,
and to really be have that choice to be, even own your mistakes and your stupidities. It's
yeah,
nice to. I feel like 40s give you permission.
Yeah, they totally give you permission. And I think when what you're saying about owning your mistakes, I feel like something, and मैं ऐसे बात कर रही हूँ जैसे I've been 40 for like,
5 साल. But
अभी तो आधा
like,
घंटा हुआ है बस.
I mean, truly.
But
like
actually,
I
it's just
do
also
think,
the changes that happened for you right now have also made you.
yeah,
I'm sure
I
you've
think
given
it's
you like
this
a.
year.
Completely. I do feel like it's a lot of conscious choices, a lot of decision making this year. Um, and it's not that I started this year out thinking, oh, I'm gonna just like turn my life upside down in so many ways or take on things with work or work harder than I have in a very long time. Like just so many things. It's not that I consciously set out to do it. I think they just organically started happening. But you were saying, when you have the ability to own up to mistakes, but I think one really amazing thing is, and I see this talking to friends of mine who are in this decade of their life, you give your younger self a lot more grace. You are a lot more kinder when it comes to your younger self. And I think, I don't know if you've had this, but there's so much more awareness of where you're at right now. So much of that is informed by fears, anxieties, wants, needs, whatever it is that you may have had even as a child and into your 20s and 30s in these really formative years. And you may not have understood why you're behaving a certain way or chasing certain things or doing certain things, marrying certain people, dating certain people, making big life choices. But I think there's a lot more awareness of it now. You can kind of see the footprint of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's a lot more kindness that, look, these were not just mess ups, these were informed by certain experiences, negative or positive. I think that's something that has been hugely helpful. Like, not just understanding me right now, but like kid me.
That's the difference.
Yes, definitely. I feel like, the way I saw it was like I've been climbing this mountain and I've finally reached the top when you
Yeah.
get to your 40s and you can look back and you see
Yeah. And you have a
exactly
view and you have this
of
clarity.
everything
Yeah.
that's happened
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
And you can see why. At that point, you couldn't, when you were climbing, you couldn't see what
Yeah.
you were leaving behind and why you were taking the path you were taking. And then now you're at
Mm.
the top and you can see. Because, there was always this thing. I remember जब हम छोटे थे तो I love greeting cards. I love looking at greeting cards.
Okay.
So I always loved like all the different jokes and things. And there was 40 was always like over the hill, and
Yes,
over the
you're
hill,
so
middle
right.
age.
You're so
And
right.
these kind
Yeah.
of things कि oh you're just you're not dying, you're just over the hill. और पता नहीं इस तरह के jokes होते थे ना अभी देखो
Yeah,
कि
yeah, yeah.
Always a negative view on it, right?
हाँ.
Yeah.
So but it definitely, I don't know. Do you think that that's just something is different for us women now in terms of like the past generations में? क्या 40s, was it the same? Like, you think that women felt disempowered at that? Because, aging is also, uska bhi ek hota hai na कि oh
Mm,
my God, you've aged.
mm.
Women's aging is also a whole different. The thing is कि being a journalist and being a writer, it's not exactly, my grandfather was a writer and journalist.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I, yeah, so we have seen that it's not exactly the most lucrative profession. Also have a family of artists. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
my mother, again, this is a PTV generation. So, wo to, money was not a thing, a reason
Mm-hmm.
in the
Nariman,
art.
you're doing a podcast for free. Okay. I get it, girl. I get it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
तो मैं इसलिए सोच रही हूँ कि how has your relationship with money been? Like, I think it's very important for
Oh my
women
God.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
confront that, कि भाई, there
Totally.
is, this is a reality. This is part of our reality.
Totally. I think that uh, I have worked in newsrooms since I sort of started working as once I graduated from university and I came back to Pakistan. So they were all full-time jobs. फिर in 2014 मैंने decide किया कि अच्छा मैं freelance करूँगी. I will leave newsroom jobs and I wanted to work for organizations outside of Pakistan because I really felt like I was not learning as much as I could be. And जिस तरह newsrooms चल रहे थे वो जितने male dominated थे आपको जिस नज़र से देखा जाता था like I just felt like I'd stagnated. And I had this conversation with my father and he was like, you're at an age right now where this is the age where you can work like a dog. You have the capacity. You can do crazy hours. He was like, yehi to age hai jisme you can learn the most. So if you feel like, oh, you're just coasting along, yeah, acha, haan, chal raha hai, or you're getting a salary every month, are you actually learning? Are you
Really
actually
putting
putting
my
in the
hand.
hard
Yes.
work?
है ना?
Absolutely.
So that's when I decided to quit my job. And I started working for media groups outside of Pakistan. And then I shifted to a freelancer mentality. उसमें आपकी बहुत scarcity mentality हो जाती है. I mean, the way that I was functioning was जो भी काम आए, just take it because you don't know when you're going to be paid next. And so it's a lot of overworking. It's a lot of doing work just for the sake of getting paid. You may not even love the assignment. You may not love the work. I think for years my mentality really was, oh, if I don't do this now, to phir next cheez chali jayegi, or next opportunity bhi chali jayegi, or I won't make this connection. There's a lot of work I did in this time that I'm not particularly proud of. I know that I did it for a paycheck. At the same time, the money that I was earning, मेरा इतना अजीब सा mindset था कि which I'm sure is familiar to a lot of people कि no, save it for a bad time, save it for a bad time. अब वो bad time क्या था, I don't know. I didn't have a clear view on that, but I was working really hard, but I was not enjoying what I was earning from that work because I was always so nervous about where's the next paycheck and whatever I've earned, उसको save करके रखो, save करके रखो. Something that shifted this for me hugely when I wrote the book, I had to take a year out to work on the book, and I couldn't take on any freelance work during that time. It was impossible. Like with the kind of um, timeline that I had, I just couldn't do it. I was married at that time, and I think when you are suddenly made aware of someone else paying for things and suddenly they're covering the costs of the house running, it's not a two-person, you're not both earning. I don't know, it made me feel insecure in a lot of ways. I didn't love the feeling. um and I think so all the savings, everything, that is when I had to tap into it. I didn't like the feeling of someone else providing for me in that way. It's something I had to adjust to a lot. But what the book did for me, it really changed my life in so many ways. It gave me a sort of period of time where I was very financially secure. The money that I made from book deals or from a film deal with the book or whatever it is, it did help me get to a point where I could start saying no to certain assignments. I could take on work that I really wanted to do. I know how hard I work on stuff and put my whole heart into it. And I could say no to things that didn't necessarily suit me, or I'm not the person to do this job. A huge shift again has come this year for me when I am now renting. I have to figure out, okay, I need X amount of money to make sure I can keep living in this space. I have to cover all my bills. There is no other person in the mix who can cover that for me. And my relationship with money really, it sounds so, so simple. But I've had to really adjust to, okay, this is going to come in and this is going to go out, and this is going to come in and this is going to go out. Like, it can't just keep coming in and then you just freeze and hold it and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, shukar hai, like ye account mein hai. It again, yeah, it sounds so simple, but I've had to get used to that, and it does bring a degree of insecurity. I can literally tell you my balance in each account right now. Us type ki like awareness hai. So I'm trying to be a lot more like less paranoid about it, to trust myself that, okay, no, I can provide for myself. I've made this happen. I can keep it going, and stop constantly fearing that you have to have a safety net for a bad time. Bad time आएगा, उसको भी आप संभाल लोगे. You will know what to do because you've been doing it all along.
I think for me also, this is now because I'm a single mom.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have I have had to confront.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always, my parents are very practically, they've always been very comfortable talking about money with me. So I mean, money is they're planners, and tostra. Uh, but I appreciate now that I have control over
Yeah.
whatever it is. Bhai, ab chahe kam hai, chahe zyada hai, but I have that control now, and I can really plan the way that I want to.
Yeah.
And it's also, again, it's a leap of faith when you make such a choice, and you kind of you're forced to
Yeah.
Yeah.
sort of bank on yourself, like say, what,
Yeah.
I am going to make this work, pata nahi ho
Yeah.
jayega,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know, and
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, इससे पहले हमने, I think this really feels like real adulting because it feels like,
Agree.
I'm going to manifest whatever, उसको manifest कहें, इसको जो भी कहें,
There is
लेकिन
no other adult in the room. You are the adult in the room, so you have to make it happen.
I
There's
am
no
the
one else
mom,
gonna step in. Yeah.
of
There's no
my
one who's gonna
life.
step in and be like,
Like, oh, don't worry, like, I'll do this bill.
or oh, you want this thing? Then I'll
हाँ,
help you. There's no
I
one
know.
stepping in.
शुक्र है कि, I again, it made me also. This is something my therapist also made me force. The thing that you're saying about being nervous about the future. She was like, कि तुम क्या अल्लाह में हो? This was how she confirmed. She said, "Are you God? Like, do you know that
Yeah.
you're gonna कल का क्या पता है को तुम्हें कि कल क्या होने वाला है?" मैंने कहा नहीं, कहते मुझे तो नहीं पता, तुम्हें पता
Yeah.
है? मैंने कहा नहीं, मुझे नहीं मुझे नहीं पता। तो शी सेड कि तो हाँ, डू यू नो कि you'll be alive tomorrow या
Yeah.
नेक्स्ट वीक क्या सिचुएशन, क्या होने वाला है, कि होगा वो होगा, you have no idea, so just let go, and
Yeah.
that was, it really helped me sort of get over whatever, whether it's financial परेशानी या कोई मतलब nervousness के आगे क्या होने वाला है,
Mm.
क्या कल क्यों होगा, का वो कैसे होगा, बच्चों की शादियां कैसे होंगी, all of this stuff.
Mm, mm,
You
mm,
really
mm.
can go as so far.
Oh, once you start spiraling, it's
Like,
like, you know.
मैंने
चलते
कहा
जाओ.
मुझे नहीं पता,
Yeah.
मैं आई एम रियली ट्राइंग टू फोकस ऑन द प्रेजेंट एंड जस्ट ओके, इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट कल तक सोचते हैं, दैट्स अबाउट
Yeah.
इट.
Yeah.
बट आई एम नॉट थिंकिंग व्हाट्स योर 5 year प्लान, उस तरह की चीजें हमारे
Yeah.
बचपन में होती थी ना. It's a very like slam book kind of thing.
Totally.
Those kind of
Yeah.
things. Well, I think I have gotten, I am also now, I have led. So I think
Yeah.
40s have helped me with that too.
Something I will say though, which is like I do have these discussions with friends a lot more now, is that I think particularly women, you are not, I mean, I did not at any point in my life in school or wherever, no one encouraged me to have financial sense or knowledge. This is something that I think you entrust to especially the men around you. Your dad will give you advice, or if you're married, your husband will, या आपके भाई होंगे, या आपके male friends होंगे. A lot of women I talk to, like, they do feel a nervousness about how clueless they are with a lot of financial stuff. We don't know the terms, we don't know what it means, we don't know कैसे होगा, कैसे करेंगे. And that's a big change that I wanted to make, is to not feel so clueless about it anymore. I made a big effort with that. I started working with someone, and I have friends that have actually done courses, online courses and stuff. I was literally at the point where I was like, equity market kya hota hai? Iska kya meaning hai? And I would Google this. But then I started asking questions, and I know it can come with a lot of anxiety. But if you even find someone, or you take a course, or you do whatever, and you say, okay, I'm just going to figure out if I have to put away X amount of money every month, where's the best place for me to do it, where my money will work for me a little bit. And थोड़ी सी अगर आप हिम्मत कर लो and it's boring and you don't want to do it and math sucks, I get it. मगर अगर आप थोड़ा सा कर लो, I'm very glad that I did that. I'm still learning a lot of stuff about it, but it's something I hugely encourage.
Yeah, like I had to learn the tax system here. मुझे
Oh my
उससे
God,
काफी,
yeah.
oh, taxes. I mean, I'm sure Pakistan में भी काफी taxes अब serious बात हो गई है. So, I mean, it's something that,
Yeah.
being an independent woman or having self-employed, ये चीजें
Yeah.
समझनी पड़ेंगी और समझनी चाहिए. And actually, I think I enjoy knowing, you know, about money, like how I'm going to manage, plan. It's okay. And I do have friends जो कि कहती हैं कि हमें तो अपना बैंक अकाउंट चेक करना भी नहीं आता. You know who you are.
I mean,
But,
like, listen, no shame, okay?
no,
No
but
shame.
अगर it's okay.
पता है,
Today.
it's
Fine. हाँ ठीक है. आप आज से शुरू कर लें. I have friends who don't have a bank app on their phone. They don't know कि कैसे करेंगे, या अगर बिल पे, like, yes, that is there. It's fine. अब ठीक है, आगे बढ़ो उससे,
like
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
try
especially
big.
some of my friends, they have daughters, and I'm like, they're watching you. So just
Yeah.
for that, think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
कि वो भी देख रही हैं कि, you know what, it's fine. We don't need to really think about money, but we have to also, to think all about those things. Achha, anyway, so I thought we would wrap up with a little thing about how you look at your happiness now. What gives you joy now? And because this is something I think I think it's easier to see at this
What a
stage.
great question. Um, My work gives me a lot of joy. I'm working on my next book right now, and it makes me incredibly happy to see how I'm challenging myself with this. It's not always easy, but that does make me very happy. I feel a lot of joy in the kind of community that I've managed to create very, very mindfully. Women who I really admire, or just friends who I can be silly and stupid with, people who really show up for you. That gives me a lot of joy. Being in my own home, honestly, making a home, it makes me so happy when people have come over here and they've been like, oh my God, it is so cozy or it is so nice. Mashallah, like it makes me so, so happy that this is something I've done myself. I've created this myself. I feel like I've wanted a home like this since I was a kid that feels so safe and so me. Um, that gives me a lot of joy, like really small things in here.
And let's not
Um,
forget Finch and Pearl.
Finny and Pearl are endless joy, not just for me, but again, mashallah, mashallah, for so many people.
Yeah.
Um,
No one,
they,
if those who don't know, they're her cute little doggies who are very, if
They
they
are
were there,
my
I would
very
show them.
famous dogs. They've become people.
तो शायद किडनैप भी हो गया था मेरा ख्याल है but you
Yes,
found against all odds
yes,
Karachi में you found your dog.
listen, people, the way they showed up for me and helped me with that. I mean, everyone knows what Karachi is like, and the fact that my dog got stolen in Karachi and then came back to me. Anyway,
that is a
Amazing.
whole thing we don't want to think
I know.
about. But yeah, yeah.
Thanks so much for making the time for me today, and I really
No,
appreciate
thank
this.
you.
And I was excited about this because I feel like I'm just in person to actually talk to you. It's these are things that I miss about being in Pakistan, where I can't meet a lot of the
Of
people
course. Yeah,
that I
yeah.
admire. But thank you so much, and
thank you.
I hope we will meet in person soon, inshallah. I feel like I'm signing off a lot
Inshallah.
like this, but I would love to in person next time in Pakistan.
Inshallah. Yes.
Thank you.